Welcome to another episode of History Tea Time, one sip of history at a time. Catholicism is a branch of Christianity that follows the teachings and traditions of the Catholic Church. Counting in its ranks over 1.3 billion adherents, it is one of the most prominent faiths in today's world. We shall look at the incredible history of Catholicism, beginning at the beginning with Jesus Christ. Click on the like button and subscribe for more tips of fascinating history broken down for anyone to follow. Born in Bethlehem, Judea around 4 BC, not much is known about Jesus' childhood. He began to grow a following in earnest from around 28 AD, preaching a message of love and brotherhood. Jesus gathered a large following in a very short period of time. At the same time, he came to be seen as a threat to the established religious and political order of Judea. This ultimately led to him being accused of blasphemy by the Jewish high priests and being crucified by the Romans. However, one must remember that Jesus himself was still a Jew. His teachings never completely diverged from established Jewish beliefs. What changed was the way he interpreted these ancient beliefs, attaching a much more universal meaning to them. His followers at this time were also mostly Jewish. They differed from other Jews in one important aspect. While Jesus was known to them as Jesus of Nazareth in the usual Jewish fashion, his followers accepted him as the prophesied Messiah, or Christ in ancient Greek. It was only after Jesus' crucifixion that Christianity gradually stopped being a Jewish sect. This happened bit by bit. The Council of Jerusalem in 50 AD marks a watershed moment in the history of Christianity. It decided to forego the requirement of many key Jewish rituals for Gentiles, that is, non-Jewish converts. Paul the Apostle was a key advocate of these reforms, helping end practices such as demanding circumcision for Gentile converts. With this, Christianity began to steadily take hold all across the Mediterranean. Finally, the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great himself became a patron of Christianity. In 313 AD, he established the Edict of Milan, which gave Christianity freedom from persecution and allowed it to spread much more quickly. Click on the like button and subscribe to History Tea Time for more sips of fascinating history broken down for anyone to follow. Different views about the teachings of Jesus and his disciples defined the early years of Christianity. Even the nature of Jesus was a topic of much debate. Doctrines such as adoptionism and Arianism argued that Jesus the Son was not fully equal to God the Father. Priest Arius' Arianism in particular would come to hold much sway across Christendom. These differences culminated in the Council of Nicaea, called by Emperor Constantine in 325 AD. With so much at stake, things soon become heated at the council. According to legend, St. Nicholas, the basis for Santa Claus, punched Arius himself. In the end, the council decided to denounce Arianism. Although there was still much strife, a consensus that emerged in the aftermath of this, and later, councils would come to be known as the Nicene Creed. The Nicene Creed formed the basis for what would later become Catholicism. By now, the Bishop of Rome, also known as the Pope, had come to claim supreme authority over the Church. This was due to various reasons. As the historical capital, Rome naturally predominated in the empire, as well as being an important early centre of Christianity. The Church of Rome was founded by St. Peter, who was first among the apostles. This gave the Bishop of Rome a special status and authority within the church, as the successor of Peter and the holder of the keys to the kingdom. Over time, the popes continued to consolidate power and influence within the church, establishing the papacy as a central institution of the Catholic Church. The role of the Pope as the spiritual leader of the Church and the successor of Peter continues to be a defining feature of Catholicism today. However, not everyone recognized the authority of the Pope. In the eastern part of the empire, a parallel structure emerged centered in the new imperial capital of Constantinople. The Latin West and the Greek East slowly began to diverge. These differences would only grow after the Western Empire fell. The final split occurred in 1054 AD, when the Pope and the Patriarch of Constantinople excommunicated each other, effectively dividing the Church in two separate branches. The division led to a period of tension and conflict between the two branches of the Church before a calm settled in. Today, this second branch continues to exist as the Eastern Orthodox Church. Still, the Catholic Church continued to prosper in the West. The Church reached the apex of its influence during the Middle Ages. During this time, the Church was a significant presence in every aspect of life. It controlled all education and knowledge. The popes made and unmade emperors, called Great Crusades, and held much secular power and wealth themselves. But all was not well. Corruption and greed became increasingly widespread. Practices such as the sale of indulgences for sins were particularly problematic. All these grievances led to the second great schism in the Church, known as the Protestant Reformation. The Reformation began in 1517 when the German monk Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses to the doors of a church, criticizing the corruption in the Church. The movement quickly took off and had a profound impact on European civilization. Along with the Church, it also challenged traditional religious and political structures. The Catholic Church, however, did not just remain passive in the face of the Reformation. Their response, fittingly named the Counter-Reformation, occurred from the 16th and 17th centuries. The Church held the Council of Trent to organize its efforts between 1545 and 1563. While the Council reaffirmed traditional Catholic teachings and practices, it tried to address some of the abuses and corruption that had arisen within the Church. The strategy employed by the Counter-Reformation was twofold. On the one hand, new religious orders were established, such as the Jesuits and the Ursulines, which sought to promote the renewal of the Church and the spread of Catholicism. These orders placed a strong emphasis on education, missionary work, and pastoral care. New forms of art and architecture also developed, such as the Baroque style, which aimed to inspire awe and devotion in the faithful and to glorify the Catholic Church. Many of the great works of art and architecture from this period were commissioned by the Church as part of its effort to promote the renewal of the faith. Simultaneously, repressive measures were also undertaken. The Index of Prohibited Books was created to prevent Catholics from being exposed to radical ideas. Organizations such as the Spanish Inquisition violently suppressed those it deemed heretics. Even outright wars such as the 30 Years' War and the French Wars of Religion were waged to contain the spread of Protestantism. Overall, the Counter-Reformation tried to respond to Protestant criticisms and encourage the return of those who had left the Church. It helped reinvigorate the Catholic Church and reassert its place as one of the dominant forces in the religious and cultural life of Europe. The Catholic Church would eventually spread outside Europe with the rise of European colonialism, becoming the dominant faith in Latin America as well as parts of North America, Africa, and Asia. Today, the majority of Catholics live outside of Europe. In the modern era, the Catholic Church has tried to reform and modernize in the face of a rapidly changing world. The Second Vatican Council, held from 1962 to 1965, was a landmark event in the history of modern Catholicism. The Council sought a more open and inclusive approach to other faiths and to get lay people more involved in the Church. The Catholic Church has also become increasingly engaged with the world around it, with a greater focus on social justice and the promotion of human rights. The Church has taken a strong stance on issues such as poverty, inequality, and the environment, and has become a vocal advocate for the poor and the marginalized. At the same time, the Catholic Church has faced significant challenges and controversies. The Church has been rocked by numerous scandals, including allegations of minor abuse by priests and cover-ups by church leaders. The Church has also faced criticism for its positions on issues such as contraception, homosexuality, and women's rights. Despite these challenges, the Catholic Church continues to evolve and adapt to the changing world around it. The church remains a major force in the lives of millions of people around the world, and its influence continues to be felt all over the world. Before leaving, don't forget to click on the like and subscribe buttons and share this little sip of fascinating history with your friends. And thanks for watching.